Hello and welcome to European Daily News. I'm Alex Grant here with today's headlines from across Europe and the latest updates on the situation in Ukraine. Let's jump into today's stories for November 6th. The U.S. election. Donald Trump has won the U.S. presidential election, marking his return to office in January 2025. During his campaign, Trump promised a revival of the American economy and a strengthened America First policy. Analysts expect this shift to have significant implications for global and European economies, with potential impacts on transatlantic relations and trade, including the likelihood of protective tariffs and a preference for bilateral agreements. EU developments. Turning to the European Parliament, where multiple commissioner nominees have outlined their priorities in key areas. Kostas Kadis, the nominee for the fisheries portfolio, emphasized support for the sector, coastal communities, and biodiversity protection. Joseph Sikela, the nominee for international partnerships, introduced the Global Gateway Strategy, which aims to encourage private investment, support development goals, and strengthen EU-Africa relations. Maria Luis Albuquerque, nominated for financial services, pledged to bolster financial stability, facilitate capital flows, and promote sustainable finance, along with plans to establish an EU anti-money laundering authority. Additionally, Hadja Labab, nominee for preparedness, crisis management, and equality, has committed to strengthening equality legislation, improving crisis preparedness, and coordinating humanitarian aid. Labib also proposed new gender equality guidelines and an expansion of the EU civil protection mechanism. With these statements, the nominees emphasized the EU's commitment to economic growth, security, and social responsibility. In a significant political shift, Germany's three-party coalition government collapsed on Wednesday evening. Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced the dismissal of Finance Minister Christian Lindner over persistent disagreements about economic reforms. Scholz's Social Democrats, the Greens, and Linder's Free Democratic Party reached a breaking point following an FDP document advocating liberal economic reforms that the other two parties found challenging to accept. If the coalition dissolves, Germany could face early elections. Meanwhile, the EU has begun exploring strategies to mitigate or avoid the tariffs that President-elect Trump has hinted at imposing. One proposal involves pledging to purchase more American liquefied natural gas (LNG) to help balance the trade deficit as the EU moves away from Russian gas. European leaders recall Trump's previous willingness to negotiate, as seen in his tariffs on steel and aluminum during his last term, though this time around, the EU faces additional challenges due to the U.S. escalating tensions with China, which may increase the flow of low-cost goods into Europe. On the markets, European stocks closed lower on Wednesday, driven by a drop in utility stocks amid concerns that Trump's win might halt new offshore wind project permits. Trump had campaigned on a promise to scrap offshore wind projects through executive orders on his first day back in office, causing a stir in renewable energy sectors. Elsewhere, the Polish and Japanese governments are set to sign a memorandum of understanding on nuclear energy cooperation. The agreement, scheduled for Thursday, will include information sharing and technological support, marking a step forward in Poland's strategy to reduce its reliance on coal. In other news, the European Commission has launched an investigation into Corning's potential abuse of market dominance in the specialized glass sector. Corning, a U.S.-based company known for its durable Gorilla Glass brand used in mobile devices, produces alkali aluminosilicate alkali as glass, a highly durable type of glass used in screens for portable electronics. The investigation will examine whether Corning's market practices have stifled competition in this niche industry. Ukraine conflict. Shifting focus to Ukraine, French President Emmanuel Macron and U.S. President-elect Donald Trump discussed the Ukraine conflict and the Middle Eastern crisis in a phone call on Wednesday, according to the French presidency. Macron congratulated Trump and emphasized the importance of working with and for Europe to tackle shared challenges. Trump, meanwhile, reiterated his intention to end U.S. military aid to Ukraine and announced plans to initiate talks aimed at resolving Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. While Ukrainian leaders have publicly congratulated Trump and expressed hope for his potential to foster peace, there is reportedly a sense of anxiety and frustration behind the scenes in Kyiv, as decision-makers brace for the potential consequences of reduced U.S. support. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced on Wednesday that he would attend the European Political Community Summit in Budapest, an event jointly hosted by Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban and European Council President Charles Michel. That wraps up today's stories on European Daily News. I'm Alex Grant, and as always, it's been a pleasure bringing you the latest news from Europe and beyond. Join us again tomorrow for more updates.